Broadcasting live from the Golden Throne on Holy Terra. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Cameron.
Hi.
And Nelson.
I'm also here.
And James is on tech.
What up?
And today we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff that Wizards announced yesterday at time of recording. So we're recording this on Friday. And it's basically everything else that is absolutely for sure coming out in 2022. To note, they didn't talk about Unfinity.
No.
We don't know any more than you do. I am led to believe that maybe that means it's not coming out this year, but maybe it will. Who knows? Before we get into it, a reminder, of course, that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all your cardboard needs. You can, much to Jordan's surprise, already pre-order Commander Legends
Baldur's Gate.
What is it?
Fall of Baldur's Gate?
No, it's not. But
Magic the Gathering presents in conjunction with TSR and other Wizards of the Coast companies.
It's not Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. I think we have
it's
a copy.
battles. It's Battle for Baldur's
Battle
Gate.
for Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Seagate Wreckage, the Baldur's Gate edition.
Yeah, you can pre-order that already at Card Kingdom, so you should probably go do that because it's looking pretty cool.
Brought to you by Richard Garfield.
Also, if you tell them Loading Ready Run sent me a button, please, they'll give you a little 1-inch button, which currently says weird tap, but okay. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Thank you so much. So yeah, the next thing on the horizon, with Streets of New Capenna long in our rear view mirror.
Now that you've almost seen half of the cards from drafting it.
Yeah. There are still cards in the set. There are still like rares.
Yeah.
Certainly mythics, but rares that I've never opened or played against.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of other things on the docket, like Switch game. I learned how to play Minecraft recently. I'm like a few streams deep in it, and like there's been a bunch of my kids have been into a bunch of different Switch games, so I've just been like, and like the world's been opening up a little tiny bit more lately, but not so much that I'm back in Sunday drafting. Anyways, this is all me coming around and saying like I've drafted this set once, plus that free one that was on the first weekly or whatever. So yeah, I'm overwhelmed. Color me whelmed.
I really enjoyed Streets of New Capenna sealed when it came out those many days ago. I played quite a bit of sealed, but lately I've been playing a lot of Gladiator in the best of one historic queue.
Oh,
nice.
All right.
Yeah.
I just had to cut DT and Path.
Yeah. Shoutouts to I think it was Angel J who was like, I just do this.
Yeah.
the other day.
She goes diamond platinum.
That's allowed. You're allowed to do this. You change your deck only slightly.
Cool. I got 6 wins in a draft, and I'm prepared to retire champion at that point.
Powerful.
Yeah, it's I don't remember anything about the deck anymore. But yeah, it's sealed has been tough. The deck building in sealed has been really tough. I don't know that I'm going to do the arena open at time of recording. There's an arena open tomorrow.
Oh, really? It's this weekend?
Yeah.
Wild. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't put this one on my calendar for whatever reason.
Yeah. No.
What's the format?
New Capenna limited.
So is it sealed day 1, draft day 2?
Correct.
Oof. Okay, well, good luck to those of you, or well done, those of you who just played that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
don't know if I'm finding time either.
No, it's not, I mean, finding the time is one thing, but also it's like, how comfortable am I just throwing gems away?
Yeah, right. Like you can beat a prize fight or a rigged fight, or you can beat a broker's ascendancy if you fight hard.
If you have like broken wings in your hand when they cast it.
Yeah, but those just end games.
Yeah. Oh, fight rigging.
Fight rigging. Yeah. The green hideaway spell.
Yeah, that thing's messed up.
Ugh.
So yeah, looking to the future, the next thing coming down the pipe is the Commander Legends Betrayal of Baldur's Gate, of which we know very little. There's been, I believe, 1 spoiler card, which was shown off on the command zone, if I remember correctly.
Is that Minsk and Boo?
No, it's Zevlor,
Oh.
Elturil Exile. So it's 1 blue, black, red for a 4/2 Tiefling Warrior, legendary, with haste. And then for 2 and tap, when you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single opponent, and I don't know why the word only is highlighted in red
Yeah,
here.
that's new and different.
I assume this is a screenshot from the Command Zone's video, and that's something that they did, because this is atypical for Magic. But I'll start reading that ability again. 2 and tap, when you next cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single opponent or a single permanent an opponent controls this turn, for each other opponent, choose that player or a permanent they control, copy that spell, and copy targets the chosen player or permanent.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that, like, the templating is miserable. But James found one that looks normal. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if they read it out that only because you can just red pen that out. You don't need.
Oh, and it doesn't exist on this version.
It does not.
When you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a single opponent. So I wonder where this version with the red came from. That's interesting.
That seems like an editorial decision.
Yeah.
That feels like red Sharpie to me.
Weird.
Sure. Yeah, maybe it was from an article where the author wanted to highlight the fact that you have to first target just the one thing.
Huh. Anyway, so when you cast a spell that targets one thing, you copy it for every other opponent.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah. So if you cast murder targeting your one opponent's creature, then you get to also murder a creature belonging to each of your other opponents.
And it's 6 to get into that, plus the cost of the spell. But it has haste, so...
Yeah.
Regular commander manas.
You could do this every turn, though.
Yeah.
7 for 3 bolts.
Every turn that you... Yeah, exactly. 7 for 3 bolts. It's still a better deal than Ember Shot. Yeah.
The copy targets the chosen player or permanent. If you... Now, Nelson, if I can ask you to try and do a judge real quick.
I will try to do a judge.
If I'm casting Lightning Bolt, which could target a creature or a player...
Right.
Am I obliged to target... If I target the opponent directly, do I have to target the other opponents directly, or can I also change to their creatures?
No, I think it's pretty clear here. For each other opponent, choose that player or a permanent they control.
Yeah.
Copy that spell, and the copy targets the chosen player or permanent. So
cool.
It almost sounds like
if it
from the
can target,
exactly.
Then you can do that.
It doesn't need to tell you here that you're going to run into you can only cast these copies if you do it legally, right?
Right. So it's like your creature, and you only have a creature with 4 toughness, so your face.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Wow.
All of these Baldur's Gate and Forgotten Realms sets make me really want to know when we're getting Planescape.
Right. Maybe Planescape could be the next Plane Chase variant, just to confuse everyone.
Yeah.
Absolute most.
Yeah.
With a plane shift theme, like they go back and it's like Invasion Block, but mixed with Planescape.
You're speaking my language.
It's just like
Invasion Block.
It's the All Thinking with Portals Magic / D&D set.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the cards by buying the player's handbook, and then they're going to be in a sheet that's like in the
Yeah. You punch them out.
That's right. Yeah,
I do just want to hop in really quick and correct Graham on one thing.
Please.
They have spoiled other cards from Baldur's Gate, but they did that a while ago. We talked about them on the show.
Yes.
Ancient Brass Dragon, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Wand of Wonder.
Right.
So there are a few other cards we know, but generally speaking, we've only seen about 7 and some lands so far.
Thank you for the reminder. I had forgotten about that. So they didn't talk about this on the stream, because on the stream, the first thing that they talked about yesterday was Warhammer 40,000. And Cameron, I'm going to be leaning on you a bit for some help with this section.
I love Games Workshop insisting that it is in fact Warhammer 40,000.
Even though we know from the preview card that the little thing at the bottom of the card says 40K.
like with the K on it?
Yeah.
Incredible.
We're going to be calling it 40K too. But yeah, so this is the Universes Beyond. This is the big Universes Beyond launch mashup of Magic the Gathering and Warhammer 40K, which is 4 commander decks. And this is launching in early August 12th. And they're doing a launch weekend on the 12th and 14th. And now we have confirmation about what the decks actually are. and the colors of those decks, and some of it is stuff that people were expecting, and some of it is kind of a surprise. So we have the Tyrannid Swarm
Nice.
in green, blue, and red.
Love it.
Cameron, give us a TLDR on the Tyrannids,
Well, Graham,
if you could.
the Tyranids were first encountered by the Imperium at the Adeptus Mechanicus Explorer outpost on Tyran Prime. Or, well, it was in the Tyran system at any rate. And they are an extragalactic alien swarm composed of, the trillions of individual organisms that combine into a single hive mind that consumes all biomass in its path, converting it into more Tyranids.
Right.
And they seem to be making a beeline from the galactic rim towards Earth, towards Holy Terra, or possibly they might also be breaking for the Eye of Terror. Either way, they're going for the brightest source of psychic energy in the galaxy.
Oh boy.
Didn't you just describe the Borg?
To an
Shut
extent.
up, James.
I mean,
Shut up.
the Tyranids are also like not even a little bit the direct inspiration for the Zerg in StarCraft.
That's also fair.
Right.
Yeah, they're kind of like, they look like the alien, although the more direct inspiration or the more direct ripoff of the alien in Warhammer 40,000 are the Gene Stealers, who are a scout or infiltrator subspecies of the Tyranid swarms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Neat. What do you make of the Tyranids being green, blue, and red?
I love that, actually, because the Tyranids aren't really they don't deal with morality. They are life out of balance. Honestly, you could make the argument that the Tyranids are the good guys, right? Because they don't worship chaos. They don't particularly care about pain or suffering. They're just really big, and they roll across the galaxy eating everything. So green seems correct.
Yeah.
At least by the morality of Warhammer 40K. Red, I would think that the red is honestly the part that I feel doesn't fit. Because they aren't particularly impulsive. They are
because it's not really impulsive. It's just like, this is what we do.
Yeah. I don't want to say that they're calculating or that there's any grand strategy, because that's debatable. They have gone around things, but otherwise they seem to behave kind of like a charging animal.
Right.
Blue I really enjoy because they do have an enormous psychic presence. The shadow in the warp that blots out the Astronomicon is one of the descriptions that gets used in around the Tyranids, because there's just so many of them. Their presence in the warp is undeniable, and there's nothing that chaos can really interact with there.
Wow. All right.
If you don't know what the warp is, we're on the same team.
Okay.
Yeah.
The warp is a parallel universe to our own where psychic energy comes from. So when human psychers draw on their powers, they are drawing power from the warp. And everything in our universe kind of exists in the warp as well. Let's put a pin in that one.
So it's kind of like the spirit realm.
Yeah, it's the
right?
spirit realm.
Okay.
Most living things have a warp presence,
Right.
although some have a disproportionate one relative to, whatever they are. For example, one of the Warhammer 40K races, the Tau, have a relatively muted warp presence.
Okay.
And so they never really developed warp technologies, right? They don't travel through the warp for faster than light. They don't have psychers. Eldar, the Warhammer 40K Elven race, or as they have been called in the last, 6 or 7 years, the Eldari TM, have a disproportionately large warp presence. So the warp as a realm of pure thought and psychic imprinting is a place where all of your impulses kind of like have go to ripple outwards. So the warp is kind of like a black mirror held up to the soul. There's no hiding from the warp.
Okay.
Neat.
All right.
The next deck is the Forces of the Imperium, which is white, blue, and black. The Forces of the Imperium, these are the humans,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So this is the Spice Marines.
Yeah, space. White, blue, and black seems correct to me. Although, I mean, like, I think I might have actually put the Imperium in Mardu. Although, like, blue, if we're going with blue as being like the color of psychic powers,
Right.
then yeah, fair. But white, black is definitely where I would put the Imperium because, you know, it's definitely human society is definitely very regimented and organized and civilized in quotation marks.
Big air quotes, yeah.
But, you know, it's also founded on a premise of infinite suffering and death.
Yeah. 1,000 souls a day for the...
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor, yeah.
Yeah, just to keep the Astronomicon lit so you can navigate through the warp. Don't worry, Nelson, we'll come back to this one later.
Great. Yeah.
All right.
Warhammer 40,000 sounds like a scary place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's actually awesome. So, okay, you can travel. You can just enter the warp with a warp drive and travel through it because time and space operates differently there. So you can go into the realm of thought and emotion and just move through it, right? You can build. And in order to do that, you need psychers. And because the warp is unpredictable and chaotic, although it isn't sometimes referred to as the realm of chaos because that's where the chaos gods live. Chaos gods are composed of all of human emotion, or previously Eldar emotion. But, you know, as the dominant peoples in the galaxy right now, we kind of like decide what's going on in the warp. And it's bad.
Okay.
So in order to navigate in it, you need some kind of like consistent beacon. And for humans, that is the Golden Throne on Earth, where the Emperor lives, because his psychic presence is so bright. It's called the Astronomicon. And in order to keep it lit, they need to feed psychers into it, like they're stoking the mighty boilers of HMS Dreadnought with coal.
Whoa. But it's just human sacrifices?
Yeah.
And they have to be a psyker, I assume, is someone who's like gone to university to like learn this trade
psychers
and
are
devoted themselves to it.
Psychers occur naturally in humans.
Oh, okay.
And they do need to be trained, otherwise they are a conduit to the warp, and warp beings, warp creatures can use them to enter real space.
Okay.
Demons.
Right.
But
being
yes.
a psyker sounds like it's bad for various reasons.
Yeah, it's no fun.
But yeah, being a human of any kind in this universe is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no joy in this place.
They took the Harkonnens and just kept going.
Yeah. So the third deck, this was a surprise for some people. The Necron Dynasties.
Yeah.
Mono black.
So like mono black artifact Necrons feels correct.
Yeah, who are the Necrons?
The Necrons are an unspeakably ancient race of people who were in charge of the galaxy long before humans. And like the Eldar fought them a little bit, but the last time I was really into the lore, and this has probably changed because Games Workshop is just like, that lore we wrote before, that was written by somebody in universe and they were wrong. So we're writing it again.
Okay.
But the Necron tier were a race of people who, you know, were a big power in the galaxy, and they were subjugated by ancient real space gods called the Catan or the Satan. I don't remember how they pronounced it because there was no pronunciation guide when I was last playing Warhammer 40K, but C''TAN. And then they like... Basically, the inspiration for the Necrons are Terminators, because they're robot skeleton people, but they are undead. Basically, they're the undead in 40K. They went into deep hibernation until whatever was bothering them had left the galaxy, and then they came back, and only like 5% of whatever was preserved in those robot bodies really survived the hibernation. So most of them aren't really people.
Okay.
But the big ones, you know, are vast alien malevolent intelligences. And one of them is a meme lord who collects people and generally enjoys messing with the lesser races as he sees them by like just teleporting heroes off battlefields into museums.
Wow. And finally, the fourth deck, the Ruinous Powers, which I would have guessed. This is another name for the
Chaos.
The chaos.
Yeah, chaos armies.
The armies of chaos or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. They've been. I don't know what it because it's not just Chaos Space Marines, right?
No.
You know, at the dawn of the Imperium, 1/3 or 1/2 of the Chaos Space Marine legions and their supporting armies and fleets, rebelled against the Emperor, and that was the Horus Heresy. It was a giant civil war. It ruined everything, but depending on the lore, may have actually saved the galaxy because there was a plan in which if the Emperor's plan had come to fruition, it would have been very bad. So that there was like this secret group orchestrating things behind the scenes to upend it and thus like hopefully destroy the Chaos Gods. It's complicated.
All right.
But the Chaos people are like rebellious humans.
Yeah, they're humans
factions.
who have various motivations, but are broadly worshippers of the Chaos powers. Although some of the Space Marine legions who rebelled don't really worship Chaos, they kind of tolerate it.
Okay.
Like Chaos is fractious, right?
Right.
There are the true believers, like the Word Bearer legions, who are just the biggest dirtbags. They're actually like religious fanatics who worship Chaos and who were responsible for corrupting the other legions, even though they didn't lead the heresy. And then there are the legions like the Night Lords, who kind of are indifferent to the religious elements of Chaos, but are dirtbags for completely other reasons.
All right.
And that's Boros or what?
Sorry, no, that's Grixis.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want ranting, frothing fanatics, Chaos has you covered. If the Imperials aren't,
Yeah.
aren't the ranting, frothing fanatics that you want.
Okay.
And we actually have the box commander for that one. They did actually spoil that. So they despoiled it. Haha. It's Abaddon the Despoiler. 2 blue, black, red for a 5/5 legendary creature, Astartes Warrior. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. With trample, and much like Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, they have sort of flavor keyword abilities, which frankly I love. So, Mark of Chaos Ascendant. During your turn, spells you cast from your hand with mana value X or less have Cascade, where X is the total amount of life your opponents have lost this turn. Under his rule, there is but one creed: chaos shall reign. So, can you explain Astartes real quick?
Okay. So, in order to unite the galaxy under his benevolent rule, the Emperor created a human subspecies of super soldiers. These are the Astartes, the Adeptus Astartes, who would go on to be the Space Marines.
Right.
And it is kind of, at least in the early Horus Heresy novels, because of course they went back and wrote like 60 novels about the Horus Heresy,
Of course.
that the Space Marines weren't really supposed to be soldiers. They were supposed to be kind of like, the idea was that eventually all of humanity would be kind of like, these transhuman, long-lived, robust, intelligent people. But no, we need you on the front line. So
Right.
here's your psychic indoctrination. We're going to take you when you're 13 and plant a bunch of organs, just like stomp them into your chest cavity, and go. Here's a bolt gun.
And these are the lads that are also like huge.
Yes,
They're
yeah.
like 9 feet tall or something.
Yeah, they're like they're shack sized.
Right.
The Great Kali sized.
But like as wide as a house also.
Yeah, and then they wear like enormous suits of power armor. They carry enormous guns.
Because there are like normal sized humans.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
these Astartes are not human.
No,
strictly
there's
speaking.
debate within the Church of Terra, within the ecclesiarchy, whether the whether Astartes truly can be considered human.
All right.
But they're people, certainly.
Yeah. As a Magic card, this seems pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got sort of vibes of Yidris, Maelstrom Wanderer, a little bit. But seems like a fine card. I don't know.
Yeah.
Abaddon was one of Horus's captains.
Oh, okay.
Horus, the Space Marine Primarch who led the Horus Heresy. Abaddon was one of his captains, and he's like kind of the highest ranking surviving member of that group who cares about organization. Other Chaos Primarchs survived, and they're all demon princes doing their own thing and not really caring about things.
And that was like 10,000 years ago?
10,000 years ago, yeah.
So he's looking good for his age.
Right.
Yeah, occasionally you can coax Magnus or Perturabo out of the warp to do stuff, but nobody, they're like, no, I don't care anymore. So Abaddon has this job of basically herding cats.
Nice.
And everyone kind of jokes about how Abaddon can't get anything done, which is true, because I don't know. Have you ever tried to get 4 adults to sit down for a game of D&D? Imagine doing that with several million ones who actively don't like you.
Oof. All right.
Poor guy.
So Abaddon just this is one of the rare shots of him not just crying in frustration as he wages the long war on the carrion god of Earth.
Wow.
So in the lore there was this fracture and the Chaos faction separated from the Imperium, and have they just been at war with each other ever since? Is it this ancient civil war that's still happening?
Yeah, the Chaos Space Marine legions were successful in attacking. Well, they almost destroyed the Imperium. They laid siege to Earth, and the Emperor killed Horus in single combat, but himself was so grievously wounded that he needed to be permanently interred upon the golden throne of Terra, which is this elaborate life support system that prevents him from dying, because nobody knows what happens if the Emperor dies. Although, in the ancient lore, there was a faction of humans who were if the Emperor dies, he will be reborn. He will be reborn. We just need to let him die. This was part of his plan. We were interfering with his plan by keeping him alive.
Because he's generally depicted as mostly skeleton at this point.
Yeah. And there are apparently people who can talk to him.
But that'd be weird.
Yeah.
An odd conversation, I assume.
There's an entire YouTube channel that's quite popular in 40K called "If the Emperor Had Text to Speech."
Nice.
It's very memey. I don't know. I'm kind of jazzed for these. I really liked playing Warhammer. Well, no. I enjoyed Warhammer
lore?
40K.
Yeah.
I've never played Warhammer, but the lore.
The lore is awesome.
I just love the lore because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
And I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, the scale of it is amazing.
It's so utterly over the top and preposterous that I'm like, yes, this is great.
Yes.
This is so it's so unabashedly, unapologetically ridiculous that I'm just like, I love this.
Yeah, and it's it was written by a bunch of British metalheads in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, it feels
Mad
a lot
at
of fun
Thatcher.
to me. Yeah.
Right.
Mag Uruk Thraka, who's coming to destroy the miners.
Next card they spoiled is Blood for the Blood God! Exclamation mark. And I've heard this refrain.
Me too.
Yeah. And this is where it's from. So it's 8 generic mana, black, red. So 11 mana, but wait. It's an instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature that died this turn. So good to follow up a Wrath. Discard your hand. Then draw 8 cards. Blood for the Blood God deals 8 damage to each opponent. Exile. Blood for the Blood God. Flavor text. Skulls for the Skull Throne. And this is the art, Cameron, correct me if I'm wrong, because I saw this somewhere else, is depicting a bunch of dead space marines with their bodies laid out in the symbol of corn.
Yes, this is the rune of corn.
Who would be the blood god?
Yes, there are 4 major warp gods, chaos gods, who reside in the warp, each representing or each feeding upon a particular kind of psionic energy. Korn, who is the god of slaughter, feeds on belligerence and death. Well, not death, but killing.
Yeah,
Sure.
blood, the blood god.
Yeah. And so, one of the things that I really like about 40K is that it doesn't. Korn's thing is that his followers say, Korn does not care from whence the blood flows. So any martial pursuit, right? Like the noble warrior fighting a campaign for liberty and freedom feeds Korn. And, as there is nothing but slaughter among the stars, Korn feeds upon all of that.
Brief aside, just because it's bugging only me, because I can't remember. Korn, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and
Tzeentch.
Tzeentch. That's the one I can never remember. Thank you.
Yeah. So Korn.
We don't need to go deep on them, but
okay. Yeah. I just need to share. One friend of mine,
please,
described Nurgle as this is at Cultural Geek. My friend Leah Miller described Nurgle as the friend who is always telling you it's self-care to skip therapy. Actually. Right? Nurgle is usually depicted as pestilence and decay, but it's different than that. It's stasis and not changing anything.
And these warp gods are just they're beings that exist in the warp or something?
Yes.
Or are they,
yeah.
okay, right.
They're intelligences that formed out of consistent and strong threads that emerge from human warp presence. Although Slaanesh comes from the Eldar.
Okay.
In the original Warhammer, which was a fantasy-styled game, they were just demons. These 4 creatures existed, but they were just demons.
Right.
Right, and it was oh yeah, that's the Chaos Army. And that's just a big demon would sit on the battlefield and be I'm Nurgle, brr, brr, brr. But with 40K, they
evolved.
There's a lot more
expanded.
going on, yeah.
Right.
Gotcha. As a magic card, seems pretty sweet.
Pretty strong after a Wrath, right?
Yeah.
So obviously in a commander deck, we're going to see all these cards from the lens of commander. And yeah, if you can 3 mana, deal 8 to each of your opponents and draw 8 cards, that seems fantastic, obviously.
Yeah. 8 is also Korn's number.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Another card they showed off, and this card seems amazing. Vanguard Suppressor. This is obviously from the Imperium deck. 3 and a blue for a Astartes warrior. 3/2 with flying. And Squad 2. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may pay 2 any number of times. When this creature enters the battlefield, create that many tokens that are copies of it. Also, it has Suppressing Fire, which is whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Creatures have multi-kicker now.
Yeah.
Hooray. That seems great for commander too. However much mana you want to put into this card.
Yeah, this seems like a great thing to peel on turn 14.
Right?
Yeah, 6 mana for 2 of these. 8 mana for 3 of these. That seems awesome.
Seems fine.
3/2 flyers that draw you a card? Heck yes.
Yeah.
And they did show that there is, in fact, an associated token. I don't know if James has that, but no. But there is a token that goes with this.
Although if you like this card a lot, get you some...
Oh, there it is.
Nice. Get you some tandem lookouts. From cardking.com.
Oh, right. Tandem lookout.
That's already kind of doing what this card does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the altars.
Anyway, these are just
amazing.
These are just classic Ultramarines.
Yeah, these the Ultramarines are the big loyalist Space Marine faction.
Yeah,
they're the ones that build cities and empires, and they've got laurels, and they're basically they're very Roman influenced, but they're the extremely orthodox Space Marines. Their Primarch wrote the book literally,
nice,
on how to Space Marine.
Finally, from the 40K thing, they showed off a promo card, which isn't in the decks, but you can get it if you go to your LGS on launch day.
Which you should do.
Yeah. So it's a reprint of Fabricate, but with new art.
Cool.
Fabricate 2 in a blue. Sorcery, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. What's going on here?
This is a Tech Priest of Mars, Graham. The Imperium has experienced extreme technological stagnation, and all of the understanding of their technology is kept by the priesthood of Mars, the Adeptus Mechanicus, who guard it jealously and treat it somewhat mystically.
That seems like it would be holding the rest of the folks back.
It does.
Oh,
That is correct.
that's bad.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. Neat.
And they are like the Adeptus Mechanicus. They've written a lot of lore about them in the past few years, and they're actually living their best life. They're having just so much fun out there.
All right. So, other little details. They mentioned that there's a new foiling process that they talked about and said that they were going to show off later and didn't, called surge foiling, S-U-G or S-U-R-G-E.
Our Surge has enough on his plate already.
Yeah. And each of these decks has a regular version and a collector's edition. Not sure what that means either. Probably something to do with the surge foiling. Now, some people were, and I don't think unreasonably surprised to see that none of the 4 decks were the orcs.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably because it would have just been like mono red, like fight you. But they did announce that there are 3 secret lair drops associated with this 40K Universes Beyond launch. And one of them is Warhammer 40,000 Orcs.
Mm-hmm.
O-R-K-S.
Yeah.
So there's something there. Another one of the secret lairs is Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which is the new, I say new, it's been several years at this point, but the name for what I would have known as Warhammer Fantasy, so the original version. So that'll be interesting as well, just sort of like some fantasy-themed Warhammer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is Blood Bowl.
Yeah!
Which is in-universe Warhammer violence football.
It's Blood Bowl. I used to have a high elf team back in the day, and Blood Bowl was just chaotic nonsense.
Because Games Workshop is in England.
Yes.
And Blood Bowl seems to be themed after American football.
Yes. Yeah. Blood Bowl is the English understanding of American football.
Yeah, which is that it's incredibly violent.
Yes. Although, from the island that brought you rugby.
Yeah.
I played the goblins, but with one tree.
Yeah. And the Ents could pick up the halflings or goblins and throw them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like the goblin can hold the ball while that's happening, and then you're like throwing not just the ball, but the whole player.
So, that was I think the most exciting sort of bunch of new stuff that they showed off. They talked a little bit about Dominaria United, but they didn't really show anything off apart from shots of the set symbol and packaging. Although the image for the collector boosters for Dominaria United has a picture of a character that seems to be Braids.
With extra arms.
So that's weird.
Braids only had 2 hands the first time, right? I feel like.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, she threw them everywhere, though.
Yeah.
Damn,
well,
Braids got hands.
Look forward to more of
touchy.
that.
Yeah, no. Braids with more hands is bad because that's more ways she can touch you. That's extremely bad.
Yeah. But they did show off some stuff from Double Masters, which of course is going to be mostly, if not entirely, reprints, I think. So the Double Masters 2022, I assume that like before, it'll do the Double Masters thing of your first pick out of each pack, you take 2 cards, because that was the whole gimmick. And the box art features Liliana and Aminatu.
Oh, nice.
So nice to see Aminatu again.
Yeah.
And they showed reprints of Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, as well as a fancy new art of Kozilek that looks very cool from Ian Miller there. Liliana, The Last Hope.
Nice.
And some fancy art of that one as well. which also
Scott Fisher, Liliana.
yeah,
Holy moly!
it's gorgeous. Also, this additionally features a new, different other foiling process that's like it's like the etched foil, but with a texture, but all over the card, so it doesn't curl. And they showed a video of this, which we don't have access to, but it looked very, very fancy. Also, a reprint people have been very excited for, Ren and 6.
Oh, good.
Finally getting a reprint. Again, also with some optional new art as well from Donato Giancola. So that's cool. Also, hey, more good news for the LGS.
Ooh.
WPN premium stores can host a Double Masters preview event on July 1st, and preview events have 2 promos.
Nice.
So Weathered Wayfarer,
That's a good card.
Brand new art for Weathered Wayfarer there. There it is. And also new art for Bring to Light.
Those are cool promos.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with Double Masters. So Double Masters is actually coming out. That's at the beginning of July. So that's actually before Warhammer. So we talked about those in a different order.
Right, yeah. We talked about Commander Legends, Baldur's Gate. That's the next thing on our plate, right?
Yeah.
Then Double Masters, then Warhammer, and then Dominaria United.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Braids does have 2 extra arms. 3 multiple extra arms.
I don't like it.
That's weird.
More arms to swat you with.
All of which will have reasons to go into your LGS probably and hit up the, Commander Legends release event maybe that you might be having. You check with your store.
Yeah.
Obviously these are different sets, but there are typically there's going to be launch event of some kind for each of them.
Mm-hmm. They also showed off that Jumpstart is coming back even more so than we already thought. So we know that Jumpstart is coming back in Jumpstart 2022, and I don't actually know when that's releasing.
I also didn't catch that in the article. Sorry. Maybe they just haven't told us.
At some point this year, I assume, because it's called Jumpstart 2022. But they showed off that there's a Dominaria United Jumpstart booster. So, starting with Dominaria United, every standard set will also have Jumpstart boosters.
Weird.
Yeah, which I presume means cards from that set plus reprints.
Right, yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, each set will include several themes, each feeling right at home with what the set offers players, but don't let that stop you from mixing and matching. Like you can play like a Jumpstart from Dominaria United and one from, I guess, Brothers War or just Jumpstart 2022. The idea is they're just Jumpstart packs that are themed to the set. So that's...
If you have 10 or 12 draft archetypes, maybe it makes sense to just be like, yes, and these are also Jumpstart packs, and we'll do a little run, and then you can get into playing something that's similar to a sealed game, instantly. Just add water.
Jumpstart packs for Dominaria United feature cards from the set, including a rare or mythic, 2 foil basic lands, and a mechanically unique rare designed for the Jumpstart pack. Cool. All right. And yeah, pre-release for that is going to be September 2nd is when pre-release for Dominaria United starts. More good news for the local game stores. Starting July 1st at WPN stores, which is Wizards Play Network, by the way, around the world, if you spend $50 US or more, you can just get yourself a free Sol Ring.
Nice.
On sealed product.
Oh.
It's the new Sol Ring art by Mike Barrick in the old artifact frame, which I think is really, really cool.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's a handsome card.
So yeah, note a free Sol Ring.
So if you spend $50 on sealed product in a store, you get yourself this Sol Ring while supplies last. And in-store championships in July, if you show up, you get yourself a Flame Slash. Very
nice.
Cool. If you top 8, you can get yourself an Archmage's Charm.
Ooh.
And if you win, you get a Textless Dark Confidant.
Oh,
Yeah, the
That's
Dark.
Bobby.
unusual.
Yeah,
Textless.
Bobby, what you got for me?
we haven't had a textless promo in quite a while.
Yeah. It's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I need this actually. I would
Yeah.
totally take a Dark Confidant because I think it goes in Aristocrats.
Nice.
I still love the first time I resolved a Bob trigger and hit Distendo Mobendo.
Oh my god.
That's so bad.
I
Sorry.
died on the spot.
Is that 9 mana?
8.
Yeah.
8.
It's Distended Mindbender.
But you can engulf it or whatever it's called.
Yeah, emerge.
Emerge it down to like 3 or 4 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't help that it's just
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's
It was the otherwise that deck curves out at 2.
yeah, usually it's Gurmag Angler or Tassiger
Yeah.
or the Demon that gets
Yeah,
you,
and
but
y- y-
Distended Mind
yeah,
making it into these
Tombstalker.
decks. Yeah, Tombstalker's the typical one, right? Because
Yeah.
Tombstalker was around right in Standard with Dark Confidant, and sometimes
Hey, sometimes you just got to run the ride the lightning, right?
yeah.
You take those risks in mono black.
My good friend Tyler Woolley had 2 like 4 Dark Confidants and 2 Tombstalkers in his deck, and on one of them he just wrote in pen, "Don't dome me, bro." and sure enough, it was the other one that killed him. Just needed to vandalize all of his
There you go.
cards and would have won that tournament.
They also announced they're going to be doing a Wizards Presents event on August 18th where they're going to do like the year's worth of announcements, not just for Magic, but Wizards as a whole. Including, they showed off like a upcoming release schedule, not really with any firm dates, and a bunch of code names like lacrosse and netball. And this was weird. There's a set codenamed Marathon, and then very soon after that, a set codenamed Marathon Epilogue. Don't know what that could mean. And then the other one was off-roading. So they're just want to go outside and do sports, I guess. And then one last thing that I wanted to mention before we wrap up for the day was that because, of course, they can't do Commander Legends Battle at Baldur's Gate on Magic Arena, but there's cards there that people might want to play in Alchemy and Historic. So they are bringing some of those cards and other things to Arena on July 7th with Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate, which is 250 new cards to Arena, and I believe it's draftable. So that'll be fun.
Cool.
So that's one way to do that.
I do want to just jump in really quickly
Yeah.
before we sign off here, because this is going to be a frequently asked question. And this is not new information. We've shared this before, but we can never tell everybody all at once.
Getting
but
news out is always the
it's
biggest
very
challenge.
hard.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you a very frequently asked question for the next couple months is there a PPR for the Commander Legends? Is there a PPR for Double Masters 2? How about this Warhammer thing? The answer to all three is no, there isn't. There is no PPR. But there is stuff we are doing for Commander Legends Battle of Baldur's Gate. So you can look forward to something like a PPR in early June. And we are also doing something with Wizards for Double Masters 2.
Yeah.
So you can look forward to those two things that will be coming around the set release. We are not doing anything for Warhammer 40K with Wizards, but obviously we will play those decks
Oh yeah.
on our own time.
Oh yeah.
And then the PPR in earnest will return later this year with both Dominaria United and the Brothers War.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. We've talked about this before. That's not new information, but maybe you haven't heard it, and now you have. So there you go.
Thank you for that. That's a really good point. Next week, I think, will be the nicknames episode. So, because all this happened now, so you've got another week to get your nicknames in at lrr.cc/nicknames for Streets of New Capenna. But until then, that is going to do it for this week. I'm very excited to learn more about Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
You can probably already go and pre-order it over at cardkingdom.com
I don't even
/LRR.
remember that, but you can pre-order the
Baldur's Gate cards?
Baldur's
maybe?
Gate.
Yeah.
So
there you
get
go.
over there to our lovely sponsor, Card Kingdom, cardkingdom.com/LRR. Ask them for a button. Weird tap, but okay, is what it says right now. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Until next time, I've been Graham, joined by Cameron. Nelson.
I was also here.
And James was on tech.
Toodles.
Heather gets these online. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.